Players, this is Hall of Famer Teddy Long, and right now we're getting ready to have a six-pack challenge match with Potsy and Tino on the big podcast show. Holla at a player.
I was just thinking we should probably stop making fun of Teddy Long in that moment because, like, you never know, he might be on the show sometime.
He'll be flattered.
I don't know, man. If we're going, like, he'd probably be a little upset about that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Pots and Pans Network brings to you its tag team champions of the world. That's right. It's the Potsy and Tino show. We've got people in the comments. We got Chris Barrett out there in the comments. Hello. Hey, yo. Chris Barrett. Our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called the Wrestling Song. Until Tino goes to the studio.
Yeah.
And makes us a new theme song. But Tino, you know this show always starts with a little segment called What's Up With You?
Not a whole lot, man. We from all the wrestling we watched last weekend. So what the hell? Oh, Memorial Day weekend. I was expecting to when like Nicole wanted to go to the pool and blah blah blah. It rained all fucking weekend, so and I wasn't feeling well Thursday.
Yeah, you were sick shit.
Yeah, so Friday I didn't really do shit, really. Saturday it was awesome. I stayed in bed all fucking day. I didn't get out of bed. It was awesome.
Isn't that crazy that's awesome?
Yes, that's awesome, dude. It was raining. I didn't get out of bed. I watched the fucking pay-per-view. You know, then Nicole, she stayed in her pajamas. She went in the living room. She's doing her thing. Sunday we got up and went to church. You know, I was feeling a little better. Met up with you, and we went and saw the pay-per-view. And then Monday, got up and again didn't do a damn thing and and watched the other pay-per-view. And then, you know, went back to work Tuesday. And, you know, this week's been pretty good. I mean, because I wasn't at work Monday, it threw everything off. So Tuesday thought it was Monday, and today I kept thinking it was fucking Friday. So it totally threw me off. Tomorrow, the band is going to be in Morrisville at Woody's in Morrisville.
Okay, so I might swing by to see you.
Yeah, I doubt. I believe it when I see it. And then
Saturday we're in. That's 5 minutes down the road from where I hang out. So
it's a little ways, yeah. It's little.
That's where we used to watch wrestling pay-per-views. Is Woody's in Morrisville.
No, it wasn't. But it wasn't Woody's in Morrisville before. It was something else.
I know what you're talking about, though. I know where Woody's in Morrisville.
Yeah, it's down. It's down. By Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue. It's down that end of Morrisville. It's not anywhere near where you're thinking. It's probably a good 15 minutes from from Ruckus in Morrisville. But
tell the birds to shut up.
I'm outside, so I'm in their house, so I can't tell them to shut up.
Tell them birds to keep it down.
So I'm in their living room. Because it's nice out here. It's gorgeous.
It is a nice night.
And Nicole's in my office. She's doing some stuff for school. She's got that the machine where she can make like shirts and stuff.
The cry cut.
Yeah, she's got one of those. So she's in there doing stuff. So I'm like, I'll come outside. But and other than that, that's it. And then I'll be back Sunday. And counting down the week, 2 weeks, I'm going to Disney
for the Big 5-0.
Yeah, for the Big 5-0. Even though my Big 5-0 is in July, we're going in June because that's when we can make it. So in June, we go to Disney. It's going to be, and so while we're there, so we're leaving on like the 17th, which is Saturday. That Monday, the 19th, is our wedding anniversary. So it's going to be Big 5-0 anniversary, and then Haley's graduation. And then in July, we just got the the house rented, so for the beach house. So we're going for the actual week of my actual birthday. We'll be in Topsail like we are every year for that week.
I wanna let everybody know though that like obviously I'm part of the family, but Tino had no intentions of inviting me on any of these trips.
You didn't pay for nothing.
Well, I would have paid for me, but you didn't even offer. You're like, oh no, you ain't going.
Dude, I don't think our kids bring anybody. So
I even tried to help you get better deals on everything.
What are you talking about?
We sat there when we went to Charlotte for the NXT show, and I was sitting there saying, let me ask my sister. We'll see if we can get you better deals on anything. I'm not saying we got you better deals. I'm just saying that I reached out and tried to do that for you, and you didn't even. You had no intention. You're like.
Again, I don't let my kids bring any of their friends. How's it going to look? Oh, I'm gonna invite a friend. Like, no, you can't do it. But
Rob is like Coach from Cheers. What the fuck is Chris Barrett saying? How does he even know who Cheers characters are? Like he's not.
I didn't even see that till you said that.
Yeah, I just noticed that it said that we had another comment. I'm like, what the Chris Barrett? How are you watching this? Because you don't even show up on the viewership. He's
That's
just in the chat. He's not even watching. This is what I think's going on. No, so I'm happy for you with all that, Tino. I know that you said that for your 50th birthday you got some you got some studio time. So hopefully
I got
a song in mind to play for us.
The stuff I want to cross off the.
You were sick most this weekend. I was busy as shit this weekend.
You had Comic Cons and stuff, didn't you?
I was at Carolina Fear Fest, which was a horror convention in Raleigh, all weekend long. Got out there Friday night, set everything up for all weekend. I was out there with my buddy Billy, who does shows with me because him and I have worked together with on Junior High Horrors, and other titles obviously, but mainly the Junior High Horrors titles is what we worked on together. He did a book called The D Ward. Saturday morning, I was originally from like 10 to 11 supposed to be on the Animazement stream on their Twitch.
Oh yeah, what happened?
It got moved back to 12 to 1. And luckily, I had told the people for Fear Fest that I wouldn't be able to be at that show until like 2. So it worked out fine because I was like, hey, let me just back.
I'm sorry. Chris Barrett said there's an episode of Cheers where we learned that Coach was regularly invited to a black family reunion. Sorry. I just thought that shit was funny.
I mean, let's be real. I am invited to your family reunion.
Shit.
So I mean, maybe I am Coach. I don't know. Anyways, with that said, though.
So you told them you might not be there, and what happened?
No. They said, hey, something changed in the schedule. Is there any way that you can reschedule? And I was like, just let me know what time. As long as it's before 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I can be there. And they were like, can you do 12 to 1? So I was like, sure. So I walked around the convention for the first hour, or the first 2 hours or whatever. And then at like noon, like 11:45, I walked up to that room and I did like 3 sketches while I sat there and got interviewed the entire time. One of the really cool things that they asked me was like what my opinions were of like AI artwork and whether or not it's really art. And I was able to sit there and give a honest and true opinion that it's not really art, but it should be able to be used to get things ready to be art from an artist. Does that make sense? So like So if you use it to develop a scene, that's fine, but then take that scene and actually draw it from that is what I was basically saying. And then I went back over to Carolina Fear Fest for the rest of the weekend. But I do want to thank Amy over at Animazement. She was absolutely amazing. My buddy Craig, who was the like video guy that they had over there for it, was great. And then Saturday was just me hanging out with my buddy Billy, talking comics, talking horror, basically having people come up to the table, selling stuff, doing all that. And then Sunday, from 12 to 1, I got to hang out with two of the coolest people I've ever met. It was Ray Santiago and Dana DiLorenzo from Ash versus Evil Dead. They played Pedro and they played Kelly, the other two main characters after Bruce Campbell. And what was funny was they were like, all right, so you're going to be able to like wrangle us in and do this, do whatever when we start talking about stuff, because we just go off and we start rambling. And I sat there and I was like, don't worry, I got this, right? Well, they went on and they kept talking. But all of a sudden I was like, all right, that's a great answer. Let's move to the next thing. And they literally looked at me and they're like, because they knew they would just keep talking. But at the same time, like, it was just really, I mean, it was really cool to be sitting there at like a table for a panel that had like a full crowd, right? Like 50 people sitting there, like asking questions, wanting to know about stuff. And that was really cool. And then as soon as I got done that, they were like, hey, you didn't get a picture yesterday. Do you want one? And I'm like, well, yeah. So I grabbed my phone and I snapped some selfies with the two of them. And then I had to immediately go into a horror and writing panel. So I go into the horror and writing panel, and there's 4 of us up there. There's literally a demonologist. So a guy that literally like writes about demons. There is a person that teaches horror writing at the University of Wilmington.
Okay.
So UNCW. And then there's me and Billy. So the two people with like the least knowledge about anything. No, I'm kidding. We obviously are also well known and well skilled in this stuff at this point. And about halfway through the panel, I had to look at everybody and go, hey, you guys realize we haven't talked about horror at all? So I'm going to flip the script and tell everybody, hey, from now on, we need to talk about like the horror side of this. Because people were asking questions like, how do you write a script? How do you do this? How do you do it? And we were sitting there answering all the questions. And then I was like, hey, we've got like 20 minutes left. We haven't really talked about like how you get into writing horror.
Right.
And I had to tell everybody, hey, this has been a great panel the way that we're doing it, but we need to do this, right? And I joked, and the people in the audience actually all started laughing at it. And then they were like, no, we really do have to start talking about that. So I threw a question out to everybody because I was moderating that panel. I was like, what got you into writing horror? Like, what was it? And almost everybody, it was, we got taken to a horror movie when we were way too young for a horror movie.
Gotta do it.
And that's kind of where that went. So that was a lot of fun. Last thing I'm going to say about the What's Up With Me, Tino, and then we can jump right into tonight.
You met your you got the autograph.
Yes. So at that show, I did get a poster. I sent it to Tino. Folks, just so everybody knows, I'm a huge horror movie fan, and when I say huge horror movie fan, I love horror movies, and I don't necessarily love every horror movie. I don't watch every horror movie, but I watch a lot of them. And one of the first ones I remember was a little movie from John Landis, who also directed Animal House, Tino,
Yeah.
uh, called American Werewolf in London, or An American Werewolf in London. Starred a guy by the name of David Naughton. Nobody in the film was really a well-known actor or whatever, but it is still to this day, like when people are taught how to like create special effects for horror movies and whatever, they're shown that movie.
I saw
And
they showed like the whole transformation and how long it
yeah,
took and all the prosthetics and the little attention to detail they did with the hair
so
going.
and a lot of that is actually like clay
Yeah.
animation and everything else. But the scene is, I mean, it's like 3 minutes long. You can watch it on YouTube if you've never seen the movie. But if you like werewolf stuff, it's really well done. I mean, really well done. And this is back when like special effects studios would be hired to do something. They'd be like, we don't know how the fuck to do it, right? But then they'd go, we can do it for this much money, and it'd be like $30,000, right?
Yeah.
And they would sit there and probably go in the red on almost everything because they would sit there and put everything they had into creating the special effects to make it happen. And when you watch American Werewolf in London, it is still to this day one of the creepiest werewolf transformation scenes ever. And that was done in like 1978, right? So anyway, I get to meet David Naughton. So I get to meet the actor from it. And I walk up to the table and I'm like, hey, is there any way I can get him to sign one of the posters with just like a quote? And the woman sitting there is like, maybe, but what's the quote? Right? She doesn't want me to just sit there and go, Donald Trump is the greatest president of all time. Like none of that bullshit. But I sit there and I go, can I get him to say a line from the movie? And he looks over because he just got finished with someone else, and he looks over and he goes, what's the line from the movie? And I go, it's my favorite line from the film. And he's like, seriously, man, what's the line from the movie? I'm like, a naked American man stole my balloons. And he goes, oh yeah, I can sign it with that. And he literally signs my poster with that information. And I look at him and I go, so that's not the first time you've been asked to sign it with that, is it? And he goes, oh no. I'm like, you don't get asked a lot with that line, do you? He goes, more often than you think. And I'm like, that's fine. I don't care. It's mine now. You know, like,
Yeah.
And I got the official movie poster. Like it's 11 by 17, but it's an actual movie poster print from it, signed by him. That has
Did he
that
sign
line.
his name too, or he just signed the line?
Oh no, he signed his name. But then he also said, hey, and you get a free selfie with it. So of course I took the picture with him. Sent it to one of my friends that's a big horror fan, and they were like, I wouldn't normally recognize him, but because of the eyes, I totally know who that is. And I'm like, holy shit! Like you look at it, and it's like, you look at that movie poster, and then you look at the photo that I took, and you're like, yeah, you're right. That it's definitely still him, because he didn't do a lot of movies, but like he did that one, and to this day, it's still one of the best horror movies ever made. Because it didn't mince anything and just like put it all out there for you,
That's a great movie.
Chris Barrett said Rob got to meet Elvira. I think I have met Elvira once. I think I met her at Scarefest a couple years ago. But I mean, it's really weird now seeing that, like, The Undertaker, Elvira has, like, demasked herself. and started being the redheaded woman that she actually is. And it's even weirder knowing that she's of the age she is, because she doesn't look anything like what you would expect someone her age is. Um, but yeah, I think I did meet her at Scarefest, and it's funny because for me, growing up, when I grew up, Tino, and you may feel the same way that I do, if I had met Rhonda Shear instead of meeting Elvira, I probably would have been a little bit more freaked out by it, just because of USA Up All Night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, her and Gilbert Gottfried were the two that you wanted to meet, like, at our age. A little bit older than us, or even younger than us, you want to meet Elvira, because Elvira actually had, like, a reinvention almost of herself. But now Elvira is going around as, like, the actress that played Elvira, and she's not Elvira anymore.
So she doesn't dress up like Elvira anymore?
I think she still does. So like, for example, Kane Hodder, the guy that's been known for doing Jason for 4 of the Friday the 13th movies, he'll do in costume photo sets with people and take photos and sign the photos and everything and do all that. And I think Elvira still does that, but like, when you meet her sitting at a table, she's not in full Elvira garb anymore. But for like, it felt like for like 40 years, that's what you would meet.
Yeah.
So that was always kind of weird. So yeah, that was my weekend with that. But one other thing I do want to mention, we have talked multiple times about one of the comics that I have been working on. We obviously have been talking about Zor, and I don't have any new news for Zor. Unfortunately, it's not like I heard that it got picked up by a bigger publisher or anything else. However, our buddy Cliff Blazinski, who created Gears of War and Lawbreakers and is now working on a Broadway play, did today mention on Twitter that my next comic, Zor, is really going to be big, is what he said. So I'm pretty excited about that. But on other comics front, my buddy Eric Kent, who drew like 15 issues of Junior High Horrors, has started the artwork for Stonkered.
Nice.
So my pro wrestling meets Galaxy Quest story. He has started working on that. I sent the first page that it was being worked on by Eric over to our buddy Sean Cruz, because Sean Cruz is making an appearance in the comic as a pretty big character in the first issue. So wanted to let everybody know that, like, when we said we were going to do that, we really went all out. But Tino, I know that we have a lot of wrestling to talk about.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and start where it all started last week with Night of Champions.
All right.
Very first match, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins. We get a new World Heavyweight Champion. How do you feel?
And were you really surprised?
Well, I asked you how you felt.
Oh, I knew that Seth was going to win that title. It was a good match, though.
The only reason why I felt like AJ really had an opportunity is because I really liked how the Friday beforehand he did actually say Seth is doing movies, he's doing this, he's doing that. So, like, you know, talking about like who's going to be there every week. AJ Styles could be there every week. On top of that, knowing that the history of AJ Styles and Roman Reigns meant having them both on SmackDown was not necessarily a good thing, meant that I did think there was a possibility that they would move the entire OC over to Raw, especially with it being a 3-hour show. So I thought that there was probably a 20% chance that AJ Styles could win that match. And then, of course, we saw Seth Rollins pull it out, win the match, have Triple H come down, deliver the belt. And I mean, you had almost the when Triple H handed the belt to Kevin Owens moment with the Universal Championship, which kind of...
Didn't he hand Seth the belt? Remember when Seth turned and he was part of Triple H's faction? Didn't Triple H hand him when he won a title then too? Didn't Triple H hand it to him?
I think you're right. I think he did. So I think that was part of it. At the same time, the match was great. It delivered what it needed to really signify that these guys were applying themselves for a new world championship.
Yeah.
Still find it a little bit weird that later on in the evening, Roman Reigns walks out with 2 belts, sitting there doing his, and I love the whole like flapping the belts thing that he does now. But knowing that he's walking out there with 2 championship belts and seeing that Seth Rollins now has something that looks like the old WCW championship, but with that big WWE crest on it.
Mm.
Are they going to give Roman a new belt?
I mean, it makes sense. I
It's
thought they were
needed
going to buy it. Huh?
I feel like it's needed at this point.
Yeah. I think they need to unify the tag titles too. Let them still defend on each show, but instead of carrying all those fucking titles, just have 1 belt each.
I'm okay if they
Unless they're going to
unify
split it.
belt to 1 belt and they have Kevin and Sammy actually defending on both programs.
Yeah.
And I know that you said that you'd like to see them unify them, but I'm almost okay with them defending them as we'll defend the Raw portion, or we'll that way they can show up on every show constantly until they lose both of them.
So then they'll split it back. The Raw belt stay on Raw and the SmackDown belt stay on SmackDown.
That's the way I would look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if not, then yeah, if they're gonna stay unified, fucking make 1 belt.
Yeah.
Although I do like seeing Sammy wearing both belts. I love that, and the fact that Kevin's got them both draped over his arms because they probably don't fit around his waist. I'm okay with that too. But I would love to see both of them wearing the belt, or and it. I heard a story recently from the Big Show, where the Big Show actually, Paul White, did mention that when it comes to the belt, like I think it was Top Dollar on the A&E Treasure Show, sat there and asked, do you want to be a guy that could actually fit that belt around your waist? And he said, I'm a giant. That belt should never fit around my waist.
Nope. Should go over your
That way, when I drape it over my shoulder, it looks as small as possible.
Yep.
Even though it's the World Heavyweight Championship, it should look as small. And I loved that explanation of it. My problem with that explanation of it is that with a guy like Roman, where you're 270 pounds or whatever, it fits around your waist. When it comes to like Kevin Owens, 265, 270 pounds, it fits around your waist.
Well, Kevin Owens is a little thicker than Roman, though.
You're right, because he's shorter.
Yeah.
But then when you look at Mark Henry, and you've got 360 pounds, okay, I get it. You got to drape it over the shoulder because it ain't going to fit around the waist, right? But that's what I'm saying is that, like, I was blown away by that statement of him saying, "I'm a giant." That thing should never fit
Big
around.
Show said that, or Top Dollar said that?
So Top Dollar asked the question,
To the
and Big Show answered it.
Gotcha.
And Big Show was like, "I'm a giant. I literally had to have surgery to stop growing."
Yeah.
Andre wasn't able to have that surgery because they
I thought
didn't know about it back then.
I thought he declined it.
He might have by the age he was, but it still took a while to figure it out. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, the interior kept growing. So even though the exterior didn't, the interior kept growing. That's what the ultimate problem with Andre was.
So why did he do the Big Show? He stopped it in time.
Yes. The Big Show got it, like, I think when he went to WWE.
I thought he got it before. No,
He
no.
might have got it before. I don't think so, though, because remember, he got up to like 540 pounds at one point.
Yeah.
And now he's down to like 320. Like,
Yeah.
This dude's got abs.
Yeah.
And it's scary when you see a 7'4" guy with abs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, Night of Champions, that's where we started. We got a new Raw Women's Champion, although I guess she's going to be the SmackDown Women's like. What's the deal with that?
I'm still waiting on the switch to titles.
They really haven't done it. Did Asuka get picked up by SmackDown?
No, she's on SmackDown still. Yeah, Asuka's on SmackDown. Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, flip those titles
because Rhea is the SmackDown champion, but she's on Raw, and Bianca. Well, now Asuka's the Raw champion on SmackDown. They need to switch those belts. So.
Yeah, they'll figure out something. They'll probably do it at the next pay-per-view where they're just like, give them the belts.
Yeah.
But what did you think of Asuka winning that belt?
I told you last week. I thought. I mean, I told you last week. I said they screwed her at WrestleMania. And if they're trying to build her up strong, if she loses again to Bianca, it's gonna just kill it. So she needed to win that belt, and I like the way she won it. I like the way she won the belt.
Talk about it.
So
don't make me say everything.
It ended up. Asuka ended up in the corner with the ref in front of her, and Bianca was behind the ref. Bianca saw Asuka. She must have seen Asuka getting ready to miss her, so she missed, and Bianca was able to duck it. The ref got out of the way. Bianca got Asuka up, getting ready to do the KOD. Asuka had her fingers taped like Muda used to, and she stuck her fingers in her mouth and got the mist all over her fingers. And while Asuka had her
on the fingers too,
that's what I said. She got them all on her fingers. And so while Bianca had her up, Asuka just reached down and just rubbed it all in her eye and made her drop her. And then she kicked her and pinned her.
I mean, genius.
Yes.
Especially since they made sure that the commentators had been talking about how Asuka had been
that new mist,
playing with the mist and adding chili pepper to it.
Yes.
So seeing that, like when she went like this to Bianca, and Bianca was like, "Oh my God, my eyes!" Like, it's no wonder she lost the match. Yeah. And normally you would go, "Oh, she just tried to like run blue shit in her eyes," and we'd all been like, "No, I'm not buying it," But we bought that because the
commentators build it up.
For weeks, they'd been building it up, and Bianca had been sneaking out of the way and whatever. But like that was, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great. I really felt like, was it the best use of Asuka? No. Was it the best use of Bianca? No. But it finally added an element to the story between the two of them that they had not had before. And I felt that it really did kind of like push the envelope and make everything good with that.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying yes. I agree with you.
Only other match okay. Cody versus Brock.
Yes.
Did it extend the story? Because they're gonna have another match.
Are they one apiece now? They're one apiece now, right?
They are one apiece.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, they're only one apiece because Cody had a broken arm in this match.
Kind of reminiscent to
the old Triple H versus Brock shit.
That, or when he had the torn pec against Seth. So you just assume that, or I did, that he was going to win that one too with a broken arm, you know what I mean? Because he did it in the cage. So when he didn't, it surprised me, but it didn't surprise me because, like I said, now they can have a rubber match.
Well, at the same time, here's my feelings on it. If you would let him beat Brock Lesnar while he had a broken arm, what does that do to Brock Lesnar's character as the guy that broke the streak of The Undertaker?
And I like that they also kept Cody strong because Cody never gave up. He just passed out, kind of a la Stone Cold and Bret Hart.
A la Chris Jericho a night later, huh?
Did he? Yeah, I guess. So AEW, I forgot about that.
Isn't it funny how you see that? You're like, what? I wonder if that was the original ending or if they just let Chris Jericho say, "Ooh, that was a good ending. Let's use that." I don't know, but
not. I would hope not.
No, and I agree. But okay, main event time, Night of Champions, and like I said, we want to move through some of this stuff, but so many good matches over the weekend. So
I'm trying to think, there was the Intercontinental? Well,
no. I mean the Intercontinental Belt Championship, they actually gave Ali some offense, which was great. But let's be real.
Did Theory defend his belt?
I don't remember.
Oh well.
I don't think so.
I think so. All right.
But Universal Tag Team Championship.
I liked
Sammy, Solo, Roman.
I like that he came out in the the garb.
Dude.
That was awesome.
Sammy's first time in Saudi Arabia, walking out in the Syrian garb and speaking the native language to sit there, and you notice they did not put it in subtitles. So like if you don't know what he was saying, you don't know what he was saying.
I've been trying to find, because I know there was when like last time, this was one of my TikTokers, because he spoke Spanish, he was able to break down what what they were saying in Spanish, one Bad Bunny and all them. So I'm trying to find somebody that can translate, because I want to know what he said.
So I hope that the WWE will at some point put that on like the subtitles and closed captioning. The thing I will say is that his wife and his son were in attendance in the front row. Which, just so everybody out there knows, and I know it doesn't say that we've got a lot of people watching us tonight yet, but I know people do watch us later. Sammy had not been to Saudi Arabia based on the Syrian conflicts with the Saudis. And like 2 weeks ago, an accord got set that they said that they would start communicating again. And that's when it was like we all thought that the Usos possibly could win those tag team titles at SmackDown. And that accord got set and everything else. And KO and Sammy actually retained. KO had not been to Saudi Arabia since the Greatest Royal Rumble, to basically signify that he was staying close with his friend and not going there for the same reason that his friend wasn't going there. So That shows how close those two men are, by the way, in real life. Like,
Yeah,
even though
because
they fought
that's
each
a
other out
payday.
times,
That's a payday when they go to Saudi. So
it really is.
so
They
KO gave up a payday, like you said. So that says a lot.
and that's like 5 paydays they
Yeah.
gave up. We all saw when Sammy was part of the bloodline at the last Saudi show, and I can't remember. It might have been Crown Jewel. It might have been a different named one. I don't know.
Yeah, he didn't go to that either.
At the last one, he wasn't there, but when he was part of the bloodline, the crowd was chanting, "We want Sammy."
Yep.
And that, I hate to say it, Tino, that may have been something that got the Syrians and the Saudis actually talking to each other because of how important the WWE stuff actually is in terms of the global eyes of people. And I don't like, I'm not gonna sit there and say Rocky Four caused the close of the communist and the American like conflict or anything, but a lot of people joked that Rocky Four, when Rocky beats Drago and he says, "You could change, I could change, we all could change," that actually like was part of the cultural shift that led to Reagan and Gorbachev actually coming together, making an accord, and saying that they're going to get rid of the nuclear weapons. I can't say that this really like that the "We Want Sammy" chants did anything for that.
Well, look what Bear said.
Oh, should I?
Yeah, no, actually, yeah, because I agree with him.
Oh, absolutely, and that's what we're saying. Like we've already said that. Like, Sammy coming out and being on stage in a Saudi Arabian wrestling ring, wearing the garb of a Syrian person and speaking in his native tongue, absolutely. And by the way, this is the first time I saw people wearing the same type of outfit in the crowd at one of those Saudi shows. So I think they actually opened it up to allow people from the Syrian embassy and whatever to actually be there. To be that kind of person, to be that kind of light in the world is, I mean, I don't know how they sold it to Sammy, because I don't know if he was like, "I want to be there this time," or what the deal is. I don't know. I wish and I hope that there is going to be like a behind the scenes, like WWE 24 or whatever that they do, that actually like explains his going to Saudi Arabia for the first time. Because I'll tell you, if they didn't do that,
Oh,
they missed the fucking mark.
I am sure they did. I
I
will almost bet money they did. That's too big not to. You're right.
I
And
agree. Like,
and the
it is.
smartest and the smartest way I always say, McMahon is, that business. He knows that's money. You know what I'm saying? He knows. Yeah, that'd be dumb not to have done that. Because
So I can't wait to see if and when something like that comes out, or if it's a WWE 365, like the last 365 days from the last one that they did to this one that they did, like what, like why they kept saying no, 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 and then all of a sudden Sammy says, "I'll be at this one," and then he actually shows up, like whatever the case might be. Like, this is the perfect time to have one of those biography segments. Um, but yeah, it's world changing. And the WWE always said that everything they wanted to do with these Saudi Arabian shows, yeah, they wanted to make the $1 billion that comes with it, but they wanted to move them forward, right? And here's another way that they moved them forward. We already talked about Asuka winning her match against Bianca, but there were 3 women's matches on that card. 3.
Yep.
You know, the very first
Oh, we
one.
forgot about the damn. Was that the one where it's just a squash and I was so Rhea put up her
That's
title?
Rhea and Natalia. I wasn't even going to bring it up, but it was one of the 3 women's matches that they had on the card.
They shouldn't even.
They might have run out of time. I don't know. All I'll say is that Natalia, I think, has been on everyone except for one, because I think the very first match that they had for the women's matches were Alexa Bliss versus
Natalia.
now Mercedes Moné. So it
Natalia was in one too.
What now?
I thought it was her and Natalia because Natalia was because I think that was Sasha and
Sasha and Alexa, I think, was the very first one. And then I think after that, they started having 2 matches per card or tag team matches per card. I could be wrong. Chris Barrett, if you want to look that up for us, you're more than welcome to. I wouldn't mind hearing the full thing behind it. But I believe it was Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks.
Natalia was part of the first match. I was right.
Was she? So it was Natalia versus who?
Chris Barrett said Natalia was part of the first match. So I thought it was Alexa and Natalia, but I know Natalia was in the first match. I don't remember who she was fighting.
I know that
Natalia and Lacey Evans. Which yes, he's right.
Wow, that the very first one was okay.
Natalia and Lacey.
Then after that, it was Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss.
Yeah,
because I remember it was Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss really didn't like each other, and yet they agreed to work that match.
Yep.
And I remember that because wasn't that the one where like she did the broken arm thing,
mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden she like rolled her up for the win.
Yeah.
I think that's how that ended up going. Anyways,
so let's talk about this match, though.
We probably got to move on at this point.
Well, we hadn't talked about the match. We just talked about the entrance. We didn't get into the actual match of the tag
you're
match.
right. You're right. So main event. Go ahead.
No, I mean, you go.
No. I'm giving it to you.
No, I talked. You made me talk about the women's match. So this is you.
So we'll see more about it tomorrow night on Friday Night SmackDown. But the Usos come down after Roman's been kicked out of the ring, and everything looks like it's going exactly the way the Bloodline wants, where they super kick Kevin, he falls out of the ring. They super kick Sammy bounces into the ropes, Sammy comes back, gets super kicked again. And then just as you think that Solo Sikoa is holding Sammy up to get a third super kick, Sammy ducks out of the way. Roman sees it, and it looks like the Usos just blast Solo Sikoa. Roman gets in the ring. He pie faces Jimmy. Jimmy doesn't like it, but Jimmy gets pie faced. He gets knocked out of the way. Jay sits there. Jay's like trying to explain to him, we've been with you since day one, and you, if you listen closely, Roman says there ain't no day one anymore. And he pie faces Jay. Then he pie faces Jay again. And as Jay goes into the ropes and he comes back out, Roman gets blasted with an Air Force One super kick from Jimmy.
Jimmy kicked the shit out of him.
And you just see Roman go like this. And I swear, it's like this. It's like...
he got knocked the fuck out.
He got knocked the fuck out. And then he gets up.
On his knees.
He gets on his knees. And Jimmy does it again.
But Jimmy's like, if you know, he said, I did what you should have done a long time ago to Jay, and then he kicked the shit out of him again.
Well, because Jay looks at him and goes, "What did you do?" And he goes, "I did what you should have done a long time ago." And it makes me wonder, does that mean that Jimmy thinks that Jay is the guy that should take over the head of the table?
No, I think he was saying that Jimmy should have fucking kicked his ass a long time ago.
You mean Jay?
Yeah, Jay should have kicked his, because remember,
So way
because
back in Hell in a Cell.
Jimmy was out, and because it was main event Jay Uso, Jimmy came back in that cage match and stopped it. You know, and then Roman attacked Jimmy, and Jay had to say, I quit to save Jimmy, right?
Right, who still wasn't over his injury.
Yeah, so
then when Jimmy came back, Jimmy started fighting with them, and then he just fell in line like randomly.
Yeah. So he's trying to
Solo was just there.
So I think he's trying to say Jay should have quit a long time ago. And I heard something interesting on
Barrett, I disagree with that. Sasha Banks definitely was in a match against Alexa Bliss in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, Sasha was in Saudi.
They wore like Tron looking outfits that night.
I heard something interesting. I didn't even think about it. They were like, what if they're priming Solo to turn on, because Solo's the only one that fucking Roman won't bully. If you notice that, remember a couple weeks ago on SmackDown when he kind of accidentally bumped into Solo, and then he looked down like, oh fuck. So they said that, and they're thinking that what if, and somebody said, and I want to know what you think about this. What if, so Solo watched him pie face and fuck with his brothers. He didn't do anything. But what if Rikishi was to come back and be like, hey, I don't appreciate, what you did to my sons. I'm the, da-da-da-da-da. And Roman's like, I don't give a fuck what you think, and puts his hands on Rikishi, and that's what makes Solo snap.
So I almost don't like that idea, only because I don't want Solo to look weak by Rikishi having to be the one that steps up to Roman.
Well, I think Rikishi's just going to come back saying, I don't appreciate how you're treating my sons. He's not, you know what I'm saying? I think he's...
No, I agree. I'm 100% with you.
So I don't think that makes Roman, Solo looks weak. Because you're dad, you're going to come in like, hey, you quit fucking with my kids, right? As a dad, that's how I would quit fucking with my kids.
So how would you feel if tomorrow, during the 1,000-day celebration of Roman Reigns as the Universal World Champion, all of a sudden you hear, turn it up, and Rikishi comes out and he's like, and he comes down to the ring and he's like, hey, I want to give props to the tribal chief, blah blah blah, but don't you ever put your hands on my kids again, like
or something.
I think it's too early to move Solo to that position.
Well, I'm not saying now. I'm saying eventually.
When would you do it?
What is this? What do we just have? SummerSlam?
Because I could see the turn it up, and all of a sudden Rikishi comes out, and Rikishi's like, hey, yeah, I want to go ahead and give my props to the tribal chief. And then the tribal chief sits there and like knocks Rikishi down, does all that, and then like you see backstage where the Usos are being held back, and Solo just has to kind of sit there and accept all of it. And you could see Solo getting a little red in the face, but he's not doing anything, so he's just sitting there like this or whatever.
I'm saying slow build, yeah.
But wouldn't that be a better build?
I'm not saying that they turn tomorrow. I'm saying that's what eventually I think will cause Solo to turn on him.
Right now I could totally see Solo versus Roman at WrestleMania.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Slow burn.
Yeah. No, I agreed. I think that we are headed towards that. I think that
now, do we think that it's going to be Solo that takes that belt off him, though. I think that's the important thing, because I think right now the whole plan is for somehow next WrestleMania to run it back with him and Cody to win the belt then.
So I love that idea, but everyone seems to think that it's going to be Cody Gunter.
They said what now?
That everybody seems to think it's going to be Cody versus Gunter for Seth Rollins' belt. But let me put it this way:
I would love for Solo to beat Roman for that belt. That would be fucking awesome.
Let me put it this way, though. When you were a kid and you saw the $1 Million Man berating Virgil on a week in, week out basis, right?
Yeah.
When Virgil finally beat the $1 Million Man, was it not one of those biggest moments that you saw and you were like, holy shit?
Yeah. And like I said, but I don't see Roman belittling him. Like I said, I think it's got to be a build-up of eventually Solo's going to get tired of it. Shit, maybe I'm tired of you using me to do your dirty work, or I'm tired of you the way you treat my brothers, or you disrespecting my dad. It's got to be something like that, because Roman's never going to put his hands or try to manhandle Solo.
He will.
Huh?
He'll pie face him at some point. He's been holding off on it because he knows he's got him in his pocket right now, right? But
Solo will whoop his ass.
Well, and that's the question, right? Like, is Solo going to be the best? It's so funny that we're saying all of this at this point. You know why? Because you know what we're not saying anymore.
What's that?
Who do everybody want Roman to face?
The Rock.
And if we have Solo built up to the point where we don't need The Rock anymore,
yeah,
we don't need The Rock.
That's true. But you got to think too. There's no guarantee The Rock's going to come back with his busy schedule. And even if he did come back to I don't think he would win the belt, because he's not going to be able to be there. You know what I mean?
Right. He won't be able to defend it, or he won't. But would he be able to be in Solo Sikoa's corner so that he could take?
You know what I'd love to see, because Roman thinks he's the tribal chief. You remember when Jericho?
Everything you said so far tonight was fine until that last statement right there. Rikishi was never a bigger draw than The Rock.
You remember when the movie The Wrestler came out, and Jericho was belittling all the legends? So what happens around WrestleMania times when all the tribal chiefs, you get the head shrinkers, you get the Rikishi, you get The Rock, to come to be in Solo's corner, or have something to do with it when he finally beats him for that belt? I would love to see a slow build and something in like that.
So I got an idea for the tribal chiefdom, right? You do a lumberjack match with all of the Samoans.
Well, no, they got to put that title on. They get that title off of them.
That's fine, but you have the tribal chief sit there and say, we're going to have a tribal chief match, me versus Solo Sikoa, and you have all of the other Samoans as your lumberjacks. Who would they really be behind at that point?
Solo.
So you keep Roman strong because you have all of the lumberjacks beat down Roman Reigns when he gets knocked out of the ring. He doesn't think that's the case. And it'd be a similar match to when Bret Hart came back and faced Vince McMahon. Remember when he's like, I signed a deal with all of your Hart family and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, like, the Hart family just beat the shit out of Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
Could do the same thing. Not saying they would. They might, some of them might still be like, we're just going to throw them back in the ring. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But imagine a Samoan match for the tribal chief, like the head of the table match, right? Which would be a world heavyweight title match, him and Solo Sikoa, and you have guys like The Rock, you have all of them around the ring. That way, The Rock doesn't have to get involved if he doesn't want to, or he could be on commentary the entire match, like, and whatever. Like, that would be for WrestleMania 40, having all of the remaining Samoan dynasty. You even call out like the people from MLW or whatever, and you get the other Samoans that are there.
It's Samoa Joe.
No, he's the one that's not actually related to any of them. So you leave him out. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that's what I would do. But anyway, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn win that match. They come out on Monday night and even talk about how they won that match and how they're done with them, and they won the war even though they lost the battles. I thought that was a really good way to move them on. So,
all right, double or nothing.
And let's you know me, not the biggest AEW fan, although I do watch the pay-per-views, did pay for the pay-per-view, all that. What do you want to talk about?
I don't remember. Like I said, it was so much wrestling, dude. I don't remember.
Hardys and Hook ended up beating Ethan Page's group.
Oh yeah, I missed that whole match.
Yeah. We were waiting in line for goobers and whatever for that. All right. So here we go. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Toni Storm wins the Women's World Championship from Jamie Hayter.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you feel about that?
I knew it was going to happen because they talk too much about Hayter. Oh, her arm, she's hurt, and I think she really was hurt. So I think I figured,
she'll be out a while.
So, and for most of Storm's first run, remember she was the interim champion for fucking ever until they finally made her the champion. So I think that's part of it too. They want to, make that up to her.
She does become the first ever AEW 2-time women's world champion.
Yes.
Same night, we get Jade Cargill to go 60-0. And then she sits there and says, I've faced everybody. I've beaten everybody. What else you got? I'll take on anybody right now. And what do we get?
Chris Statlander's back.
And?
She whooped that ass. and she's the new TBS champion.
Now, at the same time, Jade Cargill got to keep looking strong because she beat Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah, they pushed her to 60-0, so she's 60-1 now.
Now she's 60-1.
So she got a nice little even number.
But she did face a full match.
Yes. Before
Statlander came down and beat her in like almost record time in AEW.
We're skipping around a lot. I'm trying to.
We are, but it's because I'm not going to go over every match. I can't.
Just let them know because a lot of the matches were good. So we had the Wardlow and Christian Cage match.
Oh, I was getting ready to bring that one up because it got the best chant of the night.
I don't remember what it was.
Turtleneck.
Because it came out with a sleeveless turtle.
I'm going to say right now, Christian Cage.
Oh, God.
First of all, here's the deal. Dude knows he's still good, right? But I don't think he knows he's great still in terms of in-ring competition. He made it through an entire ladder match without really taking a massive bump.
Yeah.
Okay? That's amazing considering what this guy used to put his body through. I literally was having a conversation with another pro wrestling fan today, and they were like, this guy should be the Lex Luthor of AEW. He should be making people do things for him to get the. He should be where when Andre the Giant wins the World Heavyweight Championship, he gives it to Christian Cage, kind of thing. So if Luchasaurus were to beat MJF tomorrow, he would just hand the belt over to Christian Cage, because that's the kind of asshole he is. And Tino, I said it Sunday night when you and I were sitting there. I was like, the best thing he could do here is have his ring gear be a turtleneck, and the motherfucker did it.
I don't think I think because we were both surprised he came out with the sleeveless turtleneck.
No. I sat there and said, that's fucking genius. And the funny thing is that, like, it just makes sense for his character, right? Like, he's that much of an asshole. Everybody knows he's wearing the turtleneck every week when he's wearing, like, the satin jacket or whatever. And then all of a sudden, he just takes the satin jacket off, and he's still wearing the same fucking shirt. You know? It's like, it's great. But
Arn bit the damn Luchasaurus' finger off.
When did Arn Anderson become a fucking cannibal?
I don't know, but he wasn't letting go.
Like,
well, they you know, if you notice, it's when Luchasaurus was trying to get him up for that choke slam, because remember when he got done biting him, Arn did this whole thing like pointing at his neck, and then the commentator's like, yeah, remember he's had, you know, neck surgeries and all that stuff. So I thought that was well played.
I thought it was weird as fucking shit that Arn Anderson went like a rabid animal. Like you remember his waddle down to the ring to get there as fast as possible. Like I know that he's old. Don't get me wrong. But Tully Blanchard didn't look that bad running down to the ring, you know? Like Arn Anderson waddled down to the ring, hobbled maybe, hobbled. I don't know which one.
I don't think Blanchard's had as many surgeries as Arn has either. You know what I mean?
Either way, here's the thing. Arn Anderson looked like he didn't make it to catering, because he sat there and just chomped down on Luchasaurus's hand and was trying to get himself a Brontosaurus burger from fucking the Flintstones. I don't know what the fuck was going on there, but I'll tell you, by the time he got done with whatever was on his thumb, like that,
that was awesome.
It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible, and you know it. It looked like they made his thumb out of like fucking like bubble gum or some shit. And he just, like, Arn Anderson like popped the blood packet or whatever and literally looked like a fucking zombie. Like, it was horrible, and I hated it. And it's like Wardlow, get your legend in check, man. Like there's no way that dude should be doing that shit. But anyway,
then we got the 21 man blackjack Royal Rumble. Orange kept his belt. The trios champion. I'm gonna tell you.
Go ahead and start it where it needs to be started.
Best part. The best part
was
hold on.
You told me to start.
Don't say nothing. You told me to do it. So the best part of the entrances is when the damn I love, because that's what I wait for. I love to hear
Max Caster,
and he didn't let me down. And he said something, but he's ended up saying you're getting cooked by a kid named Dominic. I said, oh God. And Buddy Matthews was in the ring like, motherfucker. But you notice he was pissed because when Max Caster got in that
potatoes, man.
Buddy tried to kill him.
Fucking potatoes.
Oh God. But it was awesome, because when Max said it, the look on his partner's face, even because I don't think they rehearsed that.
They don't. Apparently, they don't.
The look on his partner's face, his partner was like, No, the fuck he did. Even badass Billy behind him was like, "Whoa,
Dude, I'll tell you what. Like he
oh."
has said some crazy shit.
I think
You know,
that
he's
one and when
talked
he was
about
talking about that
Vince.
one
He's
when he was
talked
talking about
about this. He's talked
Vince's
about that.
mustache. No, Vince's mustache. When that was another one.
But I'll tell you what. This might have been the cake for him, because when he sat there and he said, Buddy used to be good, but now he's getting cucked by a guy named Dominic. I was like, oh. And I mean, you know me, I'm all about like great lines. I'm like,
that line, dude.
I'm like, I know House of Black is probably winning this match.
Oh, because they about to kill.
But he
kill Max Caster.
But Buddy Matthews, who by the way is a super nice dude. I've met him. Aleister Black or Malachi Black is a super nice dude, but I wouldn't fuck with them. And Max Caster fucked with them. And Billy Gunn had to take a brunt to that.
Yes.
And he was probably he probably went backstage and he was like,
and
bro.
Did you notice during that match, during the mid-match when Buddy was in the ring, they were chanting, "Who's your mommy?"
They were also chanting Dominic.
Yeah, but they were chanting, "Who's your mommy?" That shit. Oh my god.
Well, they've been chanting the "Who's your mommy" for a while, but this was the first time. But this was really the first time that they chanted Dominic while he was in the ring. And by the way, it's probably the first face pop that Dominic has ever had.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because when him and Ray were tag teaming, people booed him while he was tagging with them. This was probably the first babyface pop that you ever heard Dominic Mysterio get, and it wasn't even on WWE programming. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho versus Adam Cole.
You skipped a whole lot. That's like one of the main events.
Dude,
yeah, we'll do it. Huh?
I'm skipping a lot of stuff. I don't remember.
I don't want to skip a lot of stuff. I don't want to skip there's Adam Cole. You skip the
Is that Adam Cole?
No, I know I'm saying that one, but you skip the tag match with the FTR.
Okay.
And then the arena match. So we'll start with the Adam Cole match.
Well, the arena match was the main event.
Yeah, so the Adam Cole match.
So I was getting to that.
I mean, it's what you would expect. I mean, you knew it was going to be no holds barred. You knew that Cole was going to win, and you knew Cole was going to whip that ass, and he did all that.
It did surprise me though that the referee, who was not Aubrey Edwards for a Chris Jericho match, which kind of surprised me, did call for the bell, saying that Chris Jericho could not defend himself.
Why? Because he wasn't getting up. Cole was beating the fuck out of him.
He wasn't fighting back, but it wasn't. But it's a wrestling match, and the rules of the match were pinfall or submission.
Yeah, but at that point, and I think part of it, I don't know how, because if you notice, Jericho wasn't putting his arms up anymore. So,
but again,
was punching him in the fucking head,
and
he couldn't defend himself. So yeah,
but again, the rules for the match were pinfall or submission. He didn't do either, and they called for the bell.
That's because you're a heartless bastard. So you got to look at it this way too. So this dude can't. So you can continually let this dude take fucking blows to the face and the head and not be able to defend himself and possibly be injured or permanently damaged. Oh,
I don't know. 8 minutes later, Chris Jericho was saying he wasn't incapacitated, right?
Huh?
8 minutes later, Chris Jericho was saying he wasn't incapacitated. My point is that, like, if you make a stipulation of pinfall,
you also got to have common sense, and I see what you're saying, but you got to have common sense. If a dude's like this, and I'm continually punching you in the fucking head,
okay,
we're gonna agree to disagree on this one because
No. I'll put it simply. My common ground here is if the rules were pinfall or submission, then have Adam Cole turn him into some sort of submission hold rather than just keep pounding on his face, because pounding on his face wasn't a way to win the match.
okay, but two, if you're going along the storyline, if you had a girlfriend and someone handcuffed you while they beat the shit out your girlfriend, you at that point in the match, he wasn't thinking about a match. He was thinking about, I'm gonna kill this son of a bitch. And storyline, I'm not saying in real life, but you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna kill this son of a bitch. So the ref stopped it before he got hurt.
So totally see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
So
they did have that. They did have that.
There are plenty of
pinfalls or submissions, right? Yes, that was part of the match. But in storyline 2, he's not going for it. He's trying to fucking kill this dude. So the ref had to save Jericho's life. I see what you're saying, but I can also see storyline why they did what they did.
But there are plenty of submission holds that somebody could put someone in, like a sleeper or a coquina clutch or anything like that you could sit there and make it look like you're trying to kill somebody.
Right. Okay. So and you're thinking logic in wrestling. Let me put you like this: if somebody handcuffs me,
I'm talking about two of the biggest.
I'm not fucking. It's not a wrestling match. I'm coming to kill you. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you got to look at it.
But you know how you have to win the match.
Doesn't matter. I'm not.
Then the match should have ended in a no contest.
Mm-mm.
Which would have actually led to Wednesday night, mind you.
I think the ref did the right thing, which still led to Wednesday night. So, what do you think, Barrett? So, what else I say? We had one more match. What did I? Oh, the tag match.
Well, we had a couple. We had the tag match with FTR. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've talked about everything else because we talked about.
We did not talk about the the four pillars match, and we did not talk about the lights out match.
The lights out match was the one we just talked about.
I mean the
two
BCC
matches. The two
BCC is the elite. We didn't talk about either of those two matches. So FTR,
we got two more, right?
Then the elite versus the BCC.
Oh, okay. Well, after the one we're going to talk about, the tag match, we have two more: the Anarchy, and then the main event. So,
Anarchy was the main event.
Oh, that's right. Which didn't make sense to me, but
no. You hadn't seen it. Let's talk about the FTR match, and then I will say exactly what MJF said about why.
He didn't want to be rolling around. He didn't want to be rolling around in Moxley's blood. So,
yeah, I was going to say that later, but okay.
But the FTR match. You knew FTR wasn't gonna lose.
Too early, yeah. Too early to lose. Yeah.
For what it was an okay match. Briscoe did what I thought he was gonna do. You know, and be fair. But who came out? Did somebody come out and attack them at the end? FTR? Was that last night? Everything's all running together.
Like Karen Jarrett and like Saddam Singh or whatever his name is, like they all. It was
at the end of the match.
Somebody came running down and they weren't able to get down to the ring because Sunjay wouldn't let them get down there.
No, I thought somebody, like, as FTR was celebrating, I thought somebody came up. Another tag team came up and attacked them from behind.
I think that was Juice and Jay White.
Wednesday, yeah, okay.
That was Wednesday, yeah.
I watched it today, so that's why it's still fresh.
But like somebody kept trying to get down to the ring and they weren't able to because of Sunjay. Oh, it was Aubrey Edwards. Aubrey, because they knocked the referee out. They knocked
Yeah.
Mark Briscoe out. And then Aubrey was trying to get down to the ring, and Sanjay
Karen,
sent to the back, still wasn't out in the back, which should have just been a disqualification.
when Karen came and hit her with the guitar.
Well, she hit Aubrey with the guitar, which, whatever. But there were multiple times where Jay Briscoe saw disqualifiable things going on, and you and I were like, why didn't you disqualify him?
Well, because I think it's probably one of those he wanted to have a decisive winner.
Well, and you know as well as I do, him not being a typical official, that's what it was. But Sanjay had been sent to the back, and he didn't go to the back, and he stayed out there for the entire fucking match.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's a disqualification in and of itself. You know, like there's so many things that are just bad booking there. But FTR won. They hugged Mark Briscoe. They put the AEW World Tag Team titles on Mark Briscoe's shoulders.
He's like,
He gave it back. He actually was like, no, don't give these to me, whatever. And I thought that was actually a pretty emotional moment. Because obviously, like, we know that the Briscoe brothers, TNT basically said, you're not giving them a contract to be on this show. And, you know, since then they've I guess gone back on that to allow Mark Briscoe to be a big part of AEW.
Yeah.
All right. 4 Pillars match. They need to turn the microphone down, apparently.
What do you mean?
I mean, the whole MJF just screaming out the entire time, where he's like, get the fuck out of here!
Oh yeah, yeah.
And what the fuck are you doing? And then finally he looked at Sammy Guevara and he goes, "You're a fucking idiot!" And you're like, "What is going on here?" Like he just, and then my favorite one though was the sliced bread, where he sits there and he goes, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. And before yeah.
Like there was literally a TikTok that was like 17 seconds of MJF just screaming out random obscenities.
So what you think of the match though?
Fine. Nothing special. All the people put good work in, and all 4 good workers, but I still to this day, and Tino, you know I feel this way. Darby Allin is 120 pounds. He's Cheeseburger. Remember Cheeseburger from fucking Ring of Honor? That's Darby Allin.
And
here, let me just throw my body at you.
And we you know where I'm going with discussion. And
I mean, Cheeseburger almost won the Ring of Honor World Championship, but he never did, I don't think.
Rey Mysterio won a world championship.
Rey Mysterio, to this day, is the exception to the rule.
So why can't we have another? Why does it got to stop with him?
I'm not saying it does. I'm just saying when Darby Allin decides to dive like this backwards into somebody else who's 300 pounds, that 300 pounder should just literally grab him and pin him, and that's it. And it's over. There's no exception to that rule. I did see something a little bit different this past week, and I will say it, on Wednesday Night Dynamite, when he was tag teaming with Orange Cassidy, he kept running faster than everybody else into the corners to knock into those guys. So he utilized the one thing those little guys actually have, which is speed. Before this, Darby Allin, typically to me, had run the matches the same way that everybody else does, thinking I'm just as big as everybody else. It's like the opposite of what I've argued with you with Keith Lee, where Keith Lee is 300 pounds and should act like he's 300 pounds, but for some reason bumps to a guy who's 210 pounds. And I don't understand it. Keith Lee should never bump to a guy that's 210 pounds. And when you look at what's going on in WWE with someone like Brock Lesnar or whatever, Brock, it takes a fuck ton to finally get him to where it's like, okay, I can pin this guy. You know what I mean? With Keith Lee, that should be the
Brock
same
likes
thing.
working with the smaller guys because he doesn't mind bumping for him.
But he shouldn't bump for them.
And Brock has said that.
That he doesn't mind bumping for the smaller guys?
Yeah, if he really wants to work with you if it's a smaller guy, he doesn't mind bumping for a smaller guy.
Still got to be realistic, though. So, like, for example, look at the Finn Balor match where he kept poking him into the side of a announce table or whatever, to where all of a sudden his diverticulitis was something that they would bring up in the match. That's when all of a sudden Finn Balor has a chance to beat Brock Lesnar. Not before that. Daniel Bryan, let the big guy sit there, wear himself out to where he's finally like, holy shit, I'm exhausted. And then Daniel Bryan goes, hey, I got a 60-minute gas tank here, motherfucker. I can sit there and take you out. Then all of a sudden, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. When it comes to a guy like Keith Lee is a big fucking dude. And yet, for some reason, he sells to Darby Allin and to fucking Orange Cassidy and all these smaller guys, Swerve Strickland, whatever. When he should be like, he should take a drop kick to the chest and be like, and I really feel that that's the way it should be. So when I see Darby Allin sitting there doing a coffin drop, it's no surprise to me that when he loses the match, he loses to a headlock takeover.
All right. Well, let's get this last match that we still got to talk about because it's 10 o'clock and we still got one more pay-per-view.
So the over-under on Jon Moxley bleeding was like 4 minutes, and unfortunately it went over that before he started bleeding. But when he did start bleeding, he bled for the rest of the match. All right. Seriously, the big things that people were talking about when they came to this match were Matt Jackson using the firework on the shoe.
That was fucking awesome. I've never seen anything like it. That's why I'm like, that's awesome.
I don't know how Tony Khan approved it. I don't know how Jon Moxley actually wrestled on Wednesday after it.
I think it's kind of like Jericho throwing a fireball in somebody's face. You know what I mean?
Well, the fireball is a piece of flash paper, and all you have to do is know where to be, where to have your face, and you can prevent it from hitting you. This, he kicked him in the face, and it went off. The wrong move, and this guy's blind for the rest of his life.
Yeah, and I don't even think Moxley had. You remember how JR used to talk about when you punch somebody in the face, you want to see DNA. On Wednesday, I don't think he had any kind of marks, or even after it happened in that match.
He did have a mark, and you know what? It's why he wore the toque out to the ring. However, I actually said him sitting there wearing that pull down cap, I was like, is he going to be bleeding when he pulls the cap off? Because it's Jon Moxley. I mean, like the wrong move and that spaghetti face is just going to start bleeding, right? But to your point, it was a hell of a move.
And then when he picked him up and fucking dropped him barefoot and all those tacks, I was like, ow.
So let me ask you something, Tino. We obviously have had multiple conversations about how we are not fans of the Elite.
Yeah.
We may like Hangman because he's the one that is not actually a EVP of the company, but we have verbally talked about how much we do not like the Elite. Do you think this was the Elite eating their crow and taking their vitamins and basically being told, hey, after this, we're all good and you guys can start winning matches again, but you need to take a fucking beating?
And I think they needed to, not that, and I also think they need to keep morale. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure the guys got tired of
Well, I
them
think that's
always
part of
coming
it,
on
though.
top. You know what I'm saying? So I think this proved, hopefully, well, you know what I'm saying? This is a step to prove, okay, yeah, we can, we understand. I hope this is something that happens more. Not losing like, but hoping they'll, okay, we're willing to take more and sell more and put our bodies more, you know, to try to get that respect back, man. Because I don't think, not only us, I don't think they have a lot of respect backstage with the guys, unless the guys are back there trying to kiss ass and get on a good side to get a spot on the program.
Well, I don't know. If you listen to that crowd booing Don Callis on Wednesday night, they are 100% behind Kenny Omega as a crowd.
Oh, they always been since they came back and won the.
Well, hold on. I don't necessarily think that they're 100% behind the Young Bucks. I do think they are with Hangman, but I don't think they're 100% behind the Young Bucks, because the Young Bucks are people that, even there, I mean, like, the biggest spot in the entire match was that fireworks spot, and it wasn't done to the Young Bucks, it was done from the Young Bucks, right?
Yeah, but that one, yeah, but I think they took, but the Young Bucks took a lot of punishment, and I agree they had, they had to get that in, but in all reality, they did take a lot of punishment in that match,
which is the first time in a long time that they really did.
Yeah,
and I agree with you. They Matt Jackson taking the thumbtacks to the foot after, against the Lucha Brothers, he was the one that sat there and had the thumbtack laced foot
yeah,
to go into their face, even though they lost that match too. Still, I just, it's like they still had to get their shit in.
Well, really, I think the only shit that they got in was that exploding shoe.
I mean,
I hate them, but yeah, they had to get that exploding shoe in. But I think they took damage.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think
they had to get that. They had to get that exploding shoe in. I'm like, why not just get a couple of moves in and fucking take it like a man. Take your, don't have to get.
But you know what's weird about it is Moxley was bleeding like a stuffed pig, right? And yet he was the one holding a screwdriver to Kenny Omega's forehead and wrenching into it like it should be bleeding everywhere.
Yeah.
And yet Kenny Omega just had like droplets. That's the thing. Like, and granted, don't get me wrong, the whole death jitsu bullshit.
I don't get that.
Oh, it's John Moxley's new method of violence. But anyways, we ready to move on?
Yeah, like I said, it's 10 o'clock. Let's do this last page review.
And I apologize. Do you want to talk about Battleground, or you just want to talk about the other shows that we had this week?
Trying to think of anything of importance on Battleground. I mean, they were all good matches. I mean,
Battleground actually had a lot of people say it was the best pay-per-view of the week. And isn't that interesting, considering it's the proving ground of WWE? Like, we all know that Carmella's a star. Ron Breaker is a star. Tiffany Stratton looks like she's about to be a star.
Her Mike Skills Tuesday night, though, I'm like, eh.
I mean, she's got Chris Barrett. You're at here. I'm going to put that one on the screen. Mox bleeds way too much. Yeah, John Moxley just sits there and catches the wind the wrong way and starts bleeding. I move my hair like this. If I was John Moxley, I would actually have a cut across my forehead. I don't know what's going on with him, but he needs to stop doing it. I'm tired of seeing John Moxley bleed the way that he does. But Battleground,
a lot of this too. They're saying that a lot of those people are, and we saw it Tuesday with the new people showing up. They're saying that the call-ups are going to be the Creeds, and knows they lost, so the Creeds are probably getting ready to get called up, and Braun Breaker.
Well, on top of that, I want to point out that Nick Khan was in a video session or whatever. So the CEO of WWE, and he said you're going to start seeing more interaction between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, and we saw that on Tuesday night.
Yeah. I'm wondering if they got called down or they're free agents so they can do whatever. You know what I'm saying?
So both of the people that showed up on Tuesday night, you know what? We'll just talk about it. How about that?
Yeah, then right.
Yeah, we'll just move on. The two people that got called down are free agents. So Ali and Baron Corbin were both listed as free agents, and both made appearances on NXT. The big one, though, was at the end of the show after Carmelo Hayes defended his title. Baron Corbin beat the shit out of him.
Now, what if? Now, we know, I think Wesley's held that belt long enough, so I think Mustafa might take that. But what if Baron comes down, he does win that title, they just call, because Carmelo's ready. So what if they let, you know, because when he was down there before, I don't think he had that title when he was there before. So let him win that title and call Carmelo up.
I'm almost 100% for it, but I would almost rather see the Dolph Ziggler situation with Braun Breaker, where he takes the title from Carmelo. Carmelo has to fight his way back to the title, and then Carmelo drops it to somebody else in NXT, and then bounces. But if they don't do that, what if Carmelo loses to Corbin, and then Trick Williams is the one that has to beat him?
So you don't think Trick will come up with Carmelo?
I don't think he needs him.
Okay.
Do I think that he will or won't? It doesn't matter one way or the other. I don't think he needs him.
I was almost certain that Trick was going to turn on him Tuesday. That cause him, not cause him to lose, but turn on him Tuesday.
Very well still could. What if all of a sudden Trick Williams turns on him and leaves Baron Corbin as the NXT World Champion?
Well, Carmelo would have to stay and get his revenge on Trick.
Not necessarily. Carmelo could disappear. Carmelo could walk off into the sunset. Carmelo could actually just go after Trick and say, hey, I got bigger fish to fry at this point. I don't need the NXT Championship, blah, 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 whatever the case might be. Maybe have one more big match.
He'd have to go after Trick before he left.
Yeah, he could. He could. There's plenty of options there. So, I mean, it's like the whole NXT road is interesting right now because Now that you see Ali, who just faced Gunter for the Intercontinental title in NXT, going after the United States champion, or what do they call it, North American Championship?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this whole thing with Baron Corbin. I mean, like,
My next question, and I
all
want
bets are off.
yeah, my next thought was I loved the cage match with GG and JC. It was their rubber match.
Okay.
GG won.
Yep.
Does GG get called up, or does GG stay and JC gets called up? Because one of them's going to get called up. Who do you?
I don't know if either of them are going to get called up yet.
You don't?
No, and the reason why is because I could still see both of them feuding with different women in NXT and going after the NXT Women's Championship.
Yes.
So it's funny that you said that you loved the match, because I didn't love the match. I didn't think it was bad, but it felt like with all the buildup, there should have been a lot more.
I thought it was good storytelling. I thought they paced it well. I thought it was a good match.
It was all right. It was all right. And I did watch it today. So I think both of them still have more to give to the NXT brand in terms of the women's championship. Not necessarily in the tag team championships or anything else, but I could almost see them coming back together before they move up to the next level. Right. And it would take some doing, don't get me wrong, because there's a lot of bad blood there, so they'd have to figure out the common ground, right? But I could see them doing it.
I wondered if Gallus is the one that got Tony D'Angelo arrested, which is going to lead to Tony and Stacks going after those tag team belts.
Sounds like a good point. Sounds like a good area. Obviously at Battleground we got Dragunov versus Dijak as well.
Fucking awesome match too.
I mean, those two guys are
beat the fuck out of each other.
I mean, they are true professionals, and the fact that Dijak has been used in the level that he has, when he easily could be NXT champion right now. Like, he literally is one of the best that they have in NXT. And the fact that he kept losing, like, it's crazy. So to see where he is right now, like I'm hoping they finally elevate him. Did you hear the rumor that they might move Dragunov up to the main roster to be part of Imperium? Thoughts?
It'd be interesting, but yeah, I could see that.
I mean, obviously,
because I think if he moved up the Imperium, and they're talking about having JD McDonough join the Judgment Day, I think an Imperium Judgment Day feud would be fucking phenomenal.
Well, I agree that would be phenomenal. At the same time, I do think that it's interesting that they want Dragunov to join Gunter's group when we know the classics that him and Gunter have had.
Yeah. And it also could be he'll get in and join them. You never know. He might, from the inside, kind of like have an implosion, and he might be the one to take that belt off of Gunther. And I can see that. I can see Dragunov beating Gunther. Not many people I can see beating Gunther. I can see Dragunov beating Gunther.
He has beaten Gunther.
Yeah.
So yeah, at this point we've literally seen it. So I find that really interesting, and I hope that by SummerSlam that actually takes place, because I'd love to see an implosion of Imperium, at least with him, Dragunov, leaving the group by WrestleMania time. Let's move on.
We're 13 minutes over, dude.
I'm sorry.
But we can do Dynamite.
I mean, we'll just really quickly say it. What did you think of Darby and Orange versus the Jobbers?
No, that one.
And I say Jobbers, but they're the Ring of Honor. They're two of the three Ring of Honor.
Weren't Jobbers, but yeah, that was a good match. I'm interested to see Orange and Swerve next week.
Okay.
For the title. I liked the Statlander Nyla Rose match. That was interesting because they made a point on the commentary, and I forgot about it when Nyla was women's champ. Her first defense was Chris Statlander, and now Statlander's first defense was against Nyla. I forgot all about that. That was interesting.
That was nice. I like the callback.
Yeah.
Same thing when it comes to FTR, Jay White, and Juice Robinson.
That was a callback?
I mean, they're calling back just a couple weeks, but yeah, that they've been.
Tony Cokehead Khan made the announcement that we all knew CM Punk's going to be the first Collision show.
So a lot of people talking about the crowd reaction to that. What did you think?
They popped and they showed, and they made a point to show all the people in the CM Punk shirts.
They did make point to show the people in the CM Punk shirts. A lot of people said that the pop wasn't as much of a pop as like a mixed crowd. But let me ask you this, Tino. Knowing that it's the first episode of a new show, and knowing that Rampage, the second episode, which had CM Punk in it from the United Center, had a 1.3 million viewer rating.
Oh yeah, they're definitely they're going for the ratings.
What is a successful number, knowing that AEW recently has been pulling roughly around 900,000 to 1.05 million? What is the number they need to have to sit there and continue to push CM Punk as a top guy in AEW?
I would say from 2.5 to 3.
Oh, no. Come on. Their highest number ever is a 1.3 million.
They'd have to keep at least 1 million.
I agree with that. I would say that they need to be in the 1.2 million range on that first episode of Collision for them to really think that CM Punk is still the draw that they thought he was. So not their max number,
mm-hmm.
and not what they're pulling, but they do have to pull 200,000 more viewers. And I think that's why they actually already announced him being at the show. The whole idea of the worst kept secret and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that can get people to watch the show. But if he wasn't there in the first 30 minutes, they're tuning out, right? Especially on a Saturday night.
They'll probably open the show with him. That's probably the first thing you hear is dun 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 dun.
That's exactly what I would do. The only other option would be ending the show with him. And I don't think that they have the balls to do that like WWE would.
That's a gamble. That's a gamble.
And I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Main event last night at Dynamite. Chris Jericho and Saraya versus Britt Baker and Adam Cole. Mixed tag match. Was this the first this obviously was the first main event mixed tag match they've had in AEW.
Yes. I think.
I know it's not the first mixed tag match because I remember Sammy and Tay Conti went up against two people not too long ago.
Wait, was this the first one? Because when they did the Owen Hart thing, didn't Britt and Adam, wasn't that a main event?
No, because they both won singles matches to win those titles.
Oh, yeah. That's right. My bad.
Yeah, and then they both came out and they held their championship.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought it was a tag thing. Yeah, they were singles. Okay.
So, couple questions here. Loved the match. I thought it was great. I love Britt Baker putting Chris Jericho in the lockjaw.
I was about to say that was my favorite part.
I mean, that was the hit of the night, right?
I think the way she said it, like she came up off the floor and she showed everybody the glove the whole time, and she she made a whole show of it, putting her glove on and then getting in the ring and putting it on him. And Jericho sold it.
Putting him in the whole thing. But what was I gonna say? Shit. I just lost it.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Does that end the feud, first of all?
Well, not really, because Britt's still going to be Britt and her gang are still going to be in the feud with the Outcast. So then it's just back to Jericho and Adam Page, which Adam's beat him twice. Huh?
Adam Cole.
Oh, sorry, Adam Cole. Adam's beat him twice, so yeah.
So that should be over.
Yeah.
Yet you could do like one more match where it would be like not Anarchy in the Arena, but the Blood and Guts or something. You could do something like that, or a Lights Out match or whatever.
They do a Lights Out match.
I really think
it's Sunday.
Huh?
Remember they did the Lights Out match or the non-sanctioned match, whatever it was, Sunday.
Yeah, but then they didn't even use their own rules to determine who wins it.
Yeah, well, they already did that.
Remember, I just argued that whole thing for
been there.
Anyways, I can't remember what my other question was going to be. I'm going to leave it alone. Tomorrow night on SmackDown, Roman Reigns, 1,000 Day. We have no idea what to expect.
I'll have to watch it when I get back to my show's 9 to 12, so I'm going to watch it when I get home, or either Saturday.
And then me next weekend, I've got a convention. The weekend after that, I've got Heroes Con. Well, I'll talk to you a little off the air about something that's going on with me. But Tino, I think that's about it for tonight.
Giving you heads up right now. 3 weeks from tonight will be no show. That is the 22nd, and that's because George truly will be in Disney. So 3 weeks from now will be no show.
Okay. Everybody heard it. Tino will announce it multiple times between now and when it actually happens.
Well, I mean, you got next week and the week after.
Yeah. So we'll talk. We'll talk about it multiple times between now and then. No, shut up.
You always do that.
I do.
You can find me on the Twitter. I'm HoodieFan91. You can find me on Instagram SCTino. You can find you can find us here on the Potsy and Tino show right here on YouTube, and on the Twitter, we're Potsy and Tino. Facebook, we're the Potsy and Tino show. We want to say thanks to Adam's House Cats for the wrestling song, which is going to be 99 cents. I was in the middle of that, and I saw Mateo is
yeah, Matt's sitting there giving you some props.
Yeah, appreciate it. So thank you for the wrestling song. You get it on iTunes for 99 cents, 99. Like and subscribe this channel. Buy our shit. Give us a thumbs up.
And Tino didn't want to say any of my stuff. At Rob Pochak on
No.
Instagram, at Rob Potsy Pochak on Instagram, at Rob Potsy Pochak on TikTok, at Pochak on Twitter, and of course, Facebook. You can find me, Rob Pochak. So, with that said, folks, have a wonderful night. It's always a pleasure. Tino and I love doing this.
Yes.
He's been a little on edge recently when it comes to me sitting there like questioning his opinions on things, but
No, just sacrifice speak. If you don't like it, you think it's wrong. And like just because you don't agree with it, don't make it wrong.
well, anyways, with that, we love everybody. Thank you for being part of the show, and we look forward to next week. Have a wonderful night, and as always, Adam Housecat is bringing us out.
Bye-bye.
Oh.